Hey guys, it's Amanda from the Fiction Fairy, and today I'm bringing you a review, and the review I'm doing is Uninvited by Sophie Jordan. And guys, this book was absolutely fantastic. It completely took me by storm. I did not think that I was going to like it as much as I would. It was just really, really fantastic. I read a lot of reviews on Goodreads where people were literally ripping this book apart. They didn't understand why Sophie Jordan didn't go into more detail about certain things. And I don't know if it's because I liked the Tom Cruise movie Minority Report so much, and they're so similar that I really didn't need a lot of explanation on certain things. I just immediately fell right in love with it. Where other people, if you went into it blindly, not really having seen that type of a movie before, you would want all this explanation and background story that I just didn't need. So Uninvited is about a girl named Davina Hamilton, and all her friends call her Davy, and Davy is from a wealthy family. She has two lovely parents. She goes to a wonderful school. She got into Juilliard. She's extremely talented with instruments and voice and dance, and she's just an overall gifted person. She has a wonderful boyfriend. Her life is fantastic, except for the fact that she lives in a world where there is something called HTS. And HTS is homicidal tendency syndrome. What they did was that the government had started testing for this gene because there were so many murders. So they wanted to see, what is the common ground with this? Why are all these people murdering? And what they found was that people who do a lot of murders, most of them have a gene called HTS. And so what they did is that anybody who tests positive for HTS now, you go to a certain school, you're kind of quarantined. It's a little bit hard for you to get a job because even though you have not killed or hurt anybody yet, the fact that you have the gene tells the government that at some point you will. It's guaranteed that you will. At least that's what the government society thinks that this means. So it kind of this book, even though it was a fictional book, it kind of had so many real life aspects to it as far as people who were tested for HTC were just like me and you. Today I'm on BookTube and everybody loves me and I love everybody and we're talking about books and we're great friends. I get tested tomorrow at work. I pop positive for it and all of a sudden none of you guys want to talk to me or hang out with me because clearly I'm going to kill one of you now because I couldn't kill one of you yesterday before you found out I had HTS. But now that I have it, I'm clearly going to kill you. So it really strung up a lot of emotions because there were so many moral dilemmas where Davy had this perfect life and had known the kids in her high school. She's a senior, had known kids in her high school since she was a baby, since before they started school. And the moment she tested positive, they wanted nothing to do with her. They acted like she was dead. It was such a strange thing that just because you have that, all of a sudden you're a different person because the government says that now you're going to kill, but you haven't done anything yet. And it's kind of there are a lot of people who have, they found genes that you have an addiction gene where you can become more addicted to things than somebody who doesn't have it, or if you have two parents that smoke, you're more likely to smoke. But I have two parents who smoke and I've never smoked a day in my life. So to say, well, she'll be a smoker is kind of weird and random. And even if you have the gene, it doesn't mean that you have to be a killer. You still have some control over yourself. So it was just a shame that it showed how differently people reacted to her from one day to the next simply because now she had a gene that supposedly she was going to become a killer. So her whole life basically turns upside down. She gets uninvited from her prestigious high school, which, just ruins her whole entire world. She doesn't know what to think of it because before she was said to have HTS, she thought those with HTS were just freaks. She didn't want to be around them. She wouldn't talk to them. She lives in the suburbs instead of the city to kind of get away from people who have HTS because they're killers, they're crime ridden, and then now all of a sudden she has HTS. So the very people that she essentially hated the day before, she now is one of them. So it's she doesn't know how to live in the world of those who have HTS, but she doesn't belong in the world she had before with the people who don't have HTS. And it's such a conflict for her. And throughout the whole book, at the beginning, Sometimes you want to just strangle Davy for just how naive she is, how insensitive she is. But by the end of the book, she has grown by leaps and bounds. She has really realized the struggle of having HTS and how people are people, and just because you have something doesn't mean you have to be that. Just because they say you're a killer doesn't mean you have to be a killer. But then she finds out that some of the people who have HTS have been deemed killers for the right reason, because they are bat crazy, they are killing folks, they are killing a lot of people, and she can see it from both lenses. She can see the fact that she sees why people say people with HTS are killers, and you don't want your children around them, you don't want to be around them, but at the same time, she knows who she is, and she knows that she's not that person, and she'll never be that person. So the book was really just like a fantastic coming-of-age story. Davy really grows leaps and bounds. HTS, a lot of people had a problem with the fact that the author never really explained necessarily how they started testing for HTS. They kind of said why, because there was an overabundance of crime, and so they started testing people. What exactly HTS does to your body? Can you get rid of it? Is there treatments if there's all of this? I didn't need that because I saw Minority Report. And I know that Minority Report, all they did was have that little red ball that said that you were going to do a murder and showed it, and they would arrest you. So for me, the fact that you have HTS, I get why they were kind of trying to quarantine you to prevent you from murdering innocent people. So Davy's whole world is turned upside down. She, like I said before, she gets uninvited from her high school and ends up having to go to this tragical other high school, where she's with other kids who have HTS. And the things that they do to these kids who have HTS are just, oh, guys, it's just too much. It's too much. I mean, Davy realizes she is just alone in the world. I'm talking about alone. It almost reminded me of kind of like being a prostitute. Just because you do something like that for your job, which nobody knows why you do it, if you do it because you want to, if you do it out of necessity, because you have to take care of yourself or your family, people don't care. They look at you a certain way, that because you put yourself to that level, that they can treat you any type of way. They can speak to you any type of way. They can abuse you because you're nobody. And that's what Davy learned, that people, especially women with HTS, people think that they can just abuse you and that they can just talk to you any type of way because you're nobody. They see you as nobody anymore. You know, you're almost less than nothing. And it sometimes almost made me want to cry the way that they're being treated, because it really made me think about life, that you're right. People who are deemed as lower than nothing, whether you're homeless, whether you're a prostitute, whether you're somebody who has the AIDS or HIV virus, whether for some people it is that your sexual lifestyle is different, they feel that because on their level, they see you as lower than low, that they can just treat you any type of way. They can speak to you any type of way. They can just abuse you. And who's going to help you? Nobody, because everybody sees you that way, and it's not right. And this book really just pushed the idea home that it is not right to treat people that way. The only person, that really is there to kind of like guide her and protect her is this guy named Sean that Davy meets at her new school. And Sean plays an integral part throughout the whole story after Davy finds out she has HTC. And I wouldn't say, a lot of books have these instant love, and it's just kind of like, oh, okay, it never happens in real life. This wasn't like that. These characters were like 100% real. There was no magic, there was no mysticism. It was like almost like watching a reality TV show that was actually real, like no fakeness in it. And there was no spark of connection between Davy and anybody. It was like a gradual happening. It wasn't like you knew Davy and someone was going to fall in love. It's not like you knew Davy and this person were going to be best friends. It just kind of like gradually happened the way it would in real life. I mean, Davy just struggles with so much. Her boyfriend, before she got HTS, she has to deal with that nonsense. And let me just tell you, her best friend and her boyfriend, oh my God, when you find out what they did to her, I had to take the book, I had to close it up, I screamed, oh my goodness. My husband looked at me like, what is wrong with you? I said, I can't right now. I know exactly what's about to happen on this page. I can't. I had to put the book down, I had to collect myself, get my thoughts together. A couple hours later, I had to pick it back up. I had to go through 3 pages of me just wanting to strangle her boyfriend and her best friend, and I cried for Davy. I could not believe this was happening to her. But from what happens, they unleashed somebody they did not know they were going to unleash, because Davy got stronger than she was before, and she became stronger than she ever knew she could be. And that's when the story really takes off. It's just a fantastic story. I hope I don't sound like I'm rambling here, but it's just that the book took me by such surprise. I didn't expect to like it the way that I did. So any thoughts I thought I might have formulated about it kind of got blown away. So like I said, I hope I'm not rambling, but I hope that you get just how much the story took me and just like raveled me around the tree and then undid me around the tree. It just was, I thought it was a fantastic story. I love it. I can't wait to read book number 2. I know I'm probably going to have to wait a freaking year for it to come out, but it's super fast paced, guys. By page 50, really by page 1, things are going down, but by page 50, a whole lot is going down. I mean, there is no sprinting. We are marathon running. It is the Olympics. We are trying to win the gold, trying to leave folks in our dust, trying to Usain Bolt it, because it is fast paced. And like I said, if you love Minority Report, you have got to read Uninvited, because you will not be disappointed in this book. It's like, wow, Minority Report, Uninvited, it's almost like the same thing, and it's the same moral dilemmas of, just because somebody has something, do you deem them that that's who you are? Are you what you have? Like, just because you have HDS, am I a killer? Or do you become that? Because I still have free will to control myself. Or are you saying that I'm some uncontrollable animal? There are just so many moral dilemmas in this that you'll go through as a reader. There's so many moral dilemmas that Davy goes through. You find out so much. There's so many things that her family goes through, because you've had a child who has been extraordinary all their life that you love and you cherish, and now they're deemed that they're a killer, even though they've never killed anybody. How do you deal with that? How would you deal if you came home one day and someone told you your child has Charles Manson syndrome? All of a sudden I loved you yesterday, but today I'm thinking you may murder me while I'm in my bed. But your child has never shown any signs of aggression, but now because they have Charles Manson syndrome, you're completely worried that they might murder you each night. It's that. It's how does her family even deal with it? How does her brother deal with it? How do her parents together deal with it? The mom and the dad together, how does it change their relationship? It's just too much, guys. And then the end of the book is such a cliffhanger. I literally turned the page. I forgot that they give you like 2 or 3 pages of nonsense at the end, just talking about the author and the book being published and this, that, and the other. I turned the page and I was like, what? It was over. It was done. It was a wrap. That was the last sentence I read. And it leaves you on such a fantastic cliffhanger that I'm just like, oh, but it wasn't like one of those made up cliffhangers. It like just was. It was just like, let's go. Guys. Okay, I'm going to stop gushing about the book. I'm going to stop taking up all your guys' time. I'm just going to say, if you can get Uninvited from your library, if you can get Uninvited from a friend, if you can find Uninvited cheap, if you're willing to just spend the money, absolutely, positively, guys, get it. Because it was a really, really fantastic book. If you guys have read it, if you guys do read it, please let me know in the comments below, because I would love to hear what you guys thought about it, and then maybe get into more of a detailed talk session on things, because like I said, I don't want to give away any spoilers, but Lord knows I want to talk about this book in detail, guys. I surely do. So if anybody has read it, or if anybody reads it and you want to talk about it in detail, please, please, please comment me below, because this book just blew my mind. So like I said, I give it a 5 out of 5 cupcakes. So thank you so much for coming by and seeing this review, guys.
You only know what I want you to